Ugly. Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're going to be doing a little bit more of this tree synchronization stuff. Yesterday we started on it. We started implementing stuff in the stream before that. So we did 2 streams yesterday. The stream before in the penultimate stream, we kind of planned out how we'd want to do it. Now, when I went to implement it, I think I got a bit scuppered by my desire to write the full featured version of it. I think what I'd like to do in this stream is just do a really bare bones version of this thing that is probably going to basically forget about the need to handle edits. And also the need to like swap things over. So it's probably not going to have to handle updating of assets either, actually. Updating of asset landmarks. Right. I think I will continue to talk about inserting projects at particular locations rather than appending it to the assets block, the projects block. I think I will continue to do that because I might as well, basically. I mean, it's no skin off my nose, basically, to do that, because all it requires is passing an insertion point to the init project DB preamble function. So yeah, you increment account for the top level. I mean, yeah, these guys should be okay, I think. I think we might need to. I think we do need to handle generation still. Well, I mean, you might not even need to do that actually. Now I think about it, because after doing syncdb, when we do the init neighborhood, this person is going to try and locate a particular project, right? Which we're going to set. We'll set here. And then also, yeah, this guy here also kind of cheekily captures. It marries up the located project with the one that we've got from the config. So it's really cheesy, but I mean, it should work. All of which means I reckon that we can forget about generations for now. All we want to be doing is going over the project counts. I reckon we want to have like a pointer into the database block, database buffer, the DB metadata buffer. I think we want to just have a pointer into there that we just keep operating on. So we keep casting it to various things like a DB header project. As we go through. Now, I suppose the very simplest version, actually, now that I think about it, is simply just operate on the top level, isn't it? And just say like we just don't even. What do we care about this actually? Because this calls the recursive function, doesn't it? Yeah, init product in DB recursively. And also younger sibling, by the way. This isn't anything like what you want to be doing. What you actually want to be saying here, you want it to be the insertion. It's just supposed to be the insertion point. So you really want it to be like a void, like. I'm relatively sure that's what you want. By a similar token, you do the same thing down here. And now that I think about it, why doesn't this take the void? And then it figures out then that person computes it, because this guy is doing that thing. That's, this is the guy that needs the thing. So I guess we just do it like this instead. Well, actually, hang on a minute. Yeah, I guess, because you're talking about you're inserting init DB init product in DB. So you know that you're talking about the DB metadata buffer. Right. I think that's right. So they're both operating recursively. So yeah, I'm proposing that all you do is probably forget about generations for now, because the generation thing is it's simply used to communicate the need to offset asset landmarks, essentially. So let's just delete them, honestly. Let's delete them, get the basic stuff going, and then we can subsequently kind of build this thing up as we need it. So for the project count, I mean this project position is I did it, by the way. I propose that we do the following. So we've got db, rather than doing that but project is positioned, I think, we'll see how it pans out. Actually, let me just get a buffer out of this. Do you care about the entire buffer? I guess you possibly do. Right, so we're going to be sitting at the first project at this point. Right, we know we've got the project block here, so for the project count, for this very, very simple first version of it, yeah, I think, so we're starting off with a blank slate. Yeah, I suppose also we could have like a first project, couldn't we? Now think about it. This all might get cleared up, by the way, cleaned up. Oops. Right. And then we just say, if the, oh, that was the thing I was thinking about, wasn't it? It was, do we need the, yeah, we don't need to pass that IDL by value, so we can just wrap it up in line. So yeah, if strings match the, I guess also we could get a project out of this. Wrap 0i. Wow, all the parentheses. if that, then we're fine. Right. I mean, I guess probably actually. Right. And then down here, we just do insert project to DB top level, right? And we've got the insertion point, have we not? So yeah, let's prevent this from taking generations for now again. It does need to take that block. It does need to take the insertion point. We don't care about that generation, I don't think. Yeah, we don't give a shit about this pushing generations for now. Do not care, do not care, do not care. And then, yeah, the generation. Oops. So this is the actual project that we're inserting. This is the top level things. We can actually increment the count of it. I think the insertion point. So I reckon that's probably okay. The insertion point is going to be a stored project, isn't it? I mean, I suppose first project plus I. Now that I think about it, isn't it? Is that true? Is that true? I think that might not be true. Yeah, that won't be true actually. Because you need to have incremented past. So let me just say actually. It's the B pointer. Insert product into DB top level, and it's the insertion point, isn't it? And the actually configured project, which we do have. Yeah, configured project to the left. Now, insert product into DB top level. Increments that count. It initializes the product in DB preamble at the insertion point, and then does it set the file edit position? It does. And it does this. I don't believe that this touches the buffer's pointer, does it? No, I don't think so. So having done that, it does this. So it's going to return this dude here. Right. So basically, when we do the init into DB top insert into DB top level, if we haven't located, then what we do is we say that the B point, oh, mind you, just return a DB header. Yeah, it does actually. So oh yeah, this is nothing that I was thinking I might need to do actually. When you do the cycle signposted file, does it actually fix up the... No, it doesn't. It doesn't fix up the file buffer's pointer. Oh yeah. I'm fine it not being a separate signpost, honestly. Right, so that's going to put that pointer back into the buffer. That was in Cinera working, wasn't it? Yeah. Because just spot that buffer padding. Is it just time to remove Cinera working? Alright then, that's getting later. Fine. Because I keep getting sent to there. Like when I go to this definition, I keep going to Cinera working for various things, and it's just out of date stuff. But yeah, anyway, now that we've done that, hopefully we can actually get down to where we were talking about, which was top level. There's something about top levels, yeah. So having done this, the pointer has not moved. It's just been re-put in to the thingamajig where it was. Right. So either way, you just sort of say, do you not? If the project, if the I is less than the project block counts. Basically, the reason for having to do this is so that you can actually get this thing out. Although now that I think about it, it's probably nice to like stuff this into a function actually. Just so you're not piecemeal sort of saying, is that less than the count? And all that kind of garbage. But I think either way, I think now that you're here, I think we can just skip project. Right? And skipping project should skip everyone recursively. Ah, okay. So right. And then you go on to the next project count, and this project count is just looping over the generation 0 people. So if I'm not very much mistaken, this should actually work. So let's try it. Let's see what the hell happens. Yay, crashes. So that's saying notice file directory syncdb, so it's right. Syncdb it doesn't like. So if I is less than the project block count, db blocks is equal to that. Maybe this ain't set, or maybe the project block is set. let's just straight up say that that always locates the block. Locate project. Somebody's going to locate project in init neighbor. Okay. Oops. So we've got all our dudes. We haven't got. So we do have an asset. We do have assets actually. So we've got the hero code. Very risky. Apparently there's 2 projects, which isn't correct. There should be 3 projects. There should be hero. Now is that getting screwed up by this check? Should we step through, see what's going on? That doesn't produce anything. Yeah, where's all that printout coming from? Ah, is that in the... No, it's not going to be the derive thingamajig, is it? I mean... Surely it's somewhere in the parse config, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, wrong file. Right, here we go. Surely it's in resolve variables, isn't it? I'm basically just going to see where that dude gets printed out. Probably in push projects onto config actually. And we should have multiple projects, so we should be able to actually see one of them happen, and then we can jump in. Yeah, there we go. So now let's just continue on to the next one and then step in. That's exactly where it's happening. Derive lineage project printed some stuff out. Yep, there we go. There's our culprit. let's just run it again. And probably gonna get to the continue on. Perfect. So now we're not printing out any garbage. So initdb, what are we seeing? It's also syncdb, isn't it? That's where we want to be. Yeah. That looks legitimate to me, I reckon. Now, there's a count of 0. So that should mean, should it not, that we need to insert produce into db top level automatically, because we're not going to get in here. Yeah, that does look right. That looks bang on, actually. Totally. Hero, there's no title, base directory is there, base URL is there. There's no entries as yet. Child count is indeed 2. Now we set this B pointer here, right? So this should basically have positioned our pointer after the dude that we just inserted, including its children. And then when we come through here, I is now 1, isn't it? And the produce block count should also be 1. Yeah, so we're not going to encounter this. Or instead, yeah, this configured produce should also be risky, shouldn't it? Yeah, the base is risky. The ID's base is risky. Got a nice little lineage there. There's no title yet, which is perfectly fine. So, so it didn't like this. Hang on. Is the project block not being fixed up? Right. Is that what's happened? That's probably what's gone on, isn't it? So, project block should be equal to that. We also needed to say actually, did we just not, I don't think we're handling it, are we? Did we forget to handle it in the cycle signposted file thingamajig? Yeah, we don't handle it, so that's no problem. Oh, actually. Yeah, step through it. Sync DB. So basically, let's just do this. Now, where's the projects block? What's that saying? Is that still looking legit? Yep, that looks fine. Looking fine to me. This probably was bogus before. Count is 1. We're now testing I against the projects block count, which is now actually something. Well, I think it's something reasonable. It's still saying it's a heap use after 3 though, sadly. So we could dereference that ourselves, but it doesn't like that. So we just set the DB metadata signpost project block dot point is equal to that project block. We do this stuff. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I think I've done the cycle signpost a little bit wrong, actually. Basically, or the set, or the set signpost offset. I suppose it make more sense to put this up above the project header. Let's step into this, see what it's doing. That's probably the better way to do it. Although actually, let's go first into syncdb. Right, so we're going there first. Let's run again. Hit an assertion failure. Alright. And then let's set up a thing in cycle signposted file. So we want to continue until here. Right, so that is currently set to something. I think we are setting the edit size, aren't we? Yeah, so there's a size of that much. The byte position is 76. Which I think is probably going to be immediately after the the thing, isn't it? The DB header the DB, it's not this, the DB block. Yeah, so the DB block projects is at 64. I guess that hasn't been computed yet, has it? But it has now. So so 64. I should probably just remove this ID because we're not using it. Oh, hold on a second. SyncDB. This thing here is still talking about this, isn't it? Which is a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, that is totally what's going on, isn't it? So I think actually what we need to do is each time through this, we need to be talking about the actual products block in terms of this pointer. Right. I think that's what you want to do. And since that is what you want to do, we can do this stuff a little bit differently. Slightly cheesy, but I think that's more like what you want to be doing. So let's try running this. Set the new projects block. That looks okay. And now we successfully get through. There we go. Set that. And I think it's possibly plain sailing now. So now let's step back through the syncDB function. And see what we find. So there's already a count of 2. So we found hero, and we're trying to compare against hero, surely. Yeah. So yeah, either way, this guy is going to be talking about the same thing, and he's going to be skipping the guy. I think I'm right saying this. Basically, when we insert the project into DB top level, we insert it at this insertion point, right? this doesn't get moved, although it does get fixed up so that it's pointing into the new buffer. And then having done this, this happens anyway, newly stored project. So it's dereferenced, well it's not dereferenced, but it's getting a db header project pointer from this current from this location. And that is indeed hero, and it should skip it, and its children, it's got 2 children. So yeah, I think it's definitely plain sailing. So that's all our dudes. There's Risky popping in, which we're not actually talking about just at the moment. I think let's just try Pete standing alone. I'll just check some so that works. I guess we could try adding new files and deleting them and seeing that that still works, I guess. Yeah, okay. Having just deleted those, let's also just try triggering one of these updates. Yeah, so everything seems to be okay. So that's the basic version. I'm going to call it there. We've got 8 minutes 46 to go, but I'm going to call it there, upload this thing, and then hopefully we'll be in time for Hammered Hero, which is due in 15 minutes. So yeah, all it's doing is it's simply it's only able to handle like stuff that's the same, like hierarchy essentially. So you've got the configuration, there's one hierarchy, you've got the database, another hierarchy, or empty. All it does is just make sure that it can only handle either the thing not set, either the database not containing anything, or the database containing the same hierarchy as in the config. That's all it's handling. We now need to improve this to make it handle differences in the config and the database. It needs to make it handle both those sorts of things. And those differences will need to propagate through to the asset landmarks. So we basically need to fix up the indices that are indexing into our projects block. But yeah, that's for next time. So that's it. Thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines. We've had a successful hour there, actually establishing this first basic version of it. Thank you very much. And yeah, that's it. Until next time. Farewell for now.